Hey guys, so if you're just watching this video, you're gonna notice this beautiful sunset behind me, or it may just be blown out because that's how video cameras work. But if you wanna know something else that's beautiful, BBS wheels. We just partnered with BBS wheels to give away a free set of up to the performance line BBS wheels. So there's gonna be a description link below for you to pick up a tee. It also helps us make a donation to the United Way. So every single t-shirt you pick up, you get to make a donation and it gets you automatically entered in to win. So with that being said, enjoy the video, guys. We hope you really love it. When it comes to name brand wheels, there's not many that carry the pedigree of companies like BBS. We've talked about them in the past when I was young and had no facial hair, and now we're back to talking about them again because I still don't have any facial hair and I just want to talk about BBS. And well, you know, it seems like BBS doesn't seem to come up with many forged wheel designs anymore, and we decided to ask them why. By the way, I'm Alex from Fitment Industries, and if you're looking for some BBS wheels or wheels in general, fitmentindustries.com. There's a sales plug where we can help you out with that. That's what we got. Let's get into this. To be honest, we can help you pick up a set, lovely set of wheels. But seriously, don't even think about going to eBay, all right? I see you out there, price searching. Anyway, BBS is a brand that at its core has been around for one reason and one reason alone: to make racing, OEM, and aftermarket wheels. Like, that is it. Like, that is the focus. That's always been the focus. And now, with most people being able to dive headfirst into the wheel market with, a little bit of cash, you're seeing wheel brands pop up like all over the place, and that happens year after year. If you jump on Facebook, you more than likely have seen like 4 or 5 new wheel brands, and then you're gonna go to SEMA, there's gonna be like 20 more wheel brands, and then the year after that, there's gonna be 20 more wheel brands, and that's just like a thing right now. So when it comes to you, an avid, professional, educated, definitely not just window shopping car guy or gal, goes to compare wheel brands and models, you might often find that BBS offers the same style of wheels they always kind of have.
So
why?
Well, here's the big old history of that. Every single wheel starts life at BBS, okay? Like, no tooling, no nothing comes from anywhere else. It's all in BBS. BBS designs and engineers everything. BBS makes their own blanks. They melt their own alloy. They don't
buy anything.
They're kind of like, they do it all themselves. And for the brand, there's really only 2 major ways that they go into making wheels. Now, for our case, we're gonna talk about the forging ones, because either they have die forged blanks or they produce their own blanks. But let's jump into the first one, die forged blanks. So die forging is insanely expensive, and they only do it for exclusive partnerships. A good example of this would be like when BBS partnered with the Ford GT to produce a wheel that was just as good as the carbon fiber counterpart, but not as finicky as a carbon fiber wheel would be to a Ford GT consumer. So BBS was like, sure bud, and went on their way to do just that. So from there, engineering takes these ideas and feedback from Ford, and they make a render. They send the render to Ford. Ford then reviews it and asks for retooling and reviews and a whole bunch of different things that they're not maybe a fan of. They want this, they want that. If you could imagine a brand like Ford being picky, imagine that communication back and forth. But once it's approved, they do make a mock wheel. They will then go to produce a sample wheel, which will mill out the wheel from scratch and ship it to them for approval. Once all approved, they can then make the actual tool that allows them to stamp out the wheel from the metal. Once the die forged blank is actually created, which has the design forged into it, then it goes into spinning. Now, that's the key difference, is that the design is actually like forged into what they plan on making, which is kind of weird, but when you think about it in comparison, it's the way that they make everything just work better. This actually ends up cutting down waste and time. And BBS likes to go into investing into their own tooling when they go into making these wheels, because it's really expensive. The RSGT die forged wheel is an insanely expensive wheel mode. To create a die forged blank is as much as $100,000 just per part. That's a 2010 GT3 per part number. Their forged wheel blank is $200,000 for just the front and back for the Ford GT. So for aftermarket forged applications, they'd have to make like 10 to 12 different tools, which is millions upon millions of dollars in initial McScrooge dollars. Because I just think about having that much money and I just figure it would be like, I don't know, something that's not real. But that's where it gets tough though, because BBS doesn't like making wheels just to make wheels. It has to have a purpose. For example, when they're doing an aftermarket wheel for Porsche, They need to know exactly what they're doing, why they're doing it, how they're doing it, when are they gonna introduce the product, how they're gonna introduce the product. They need to know how many percentage of Porsche owners are gonna buy the aftermarket wheels, how many of them are gonna pick up BBS out of that. They wanna make sure that those that they're producing the wheel for are exactly what they would want. And it's just like, they just want it nice and perfect. I mean, that's pretty much what it is. And if the market isn't big enough to justify the few $1 million in molds or die forging, they ain't touching it, because BBS is very careful with how they make the investment for new products and for new markets. The second way they make their wheels is what allows them to make new designs without being overly invested just in molds, and that's through their own standard blanks. But even that has a heavy risk involved, because the molds are all theirs. So has BBS made new wheels?
Yes, they have.
They've made 8 of them, to be exact, all for aftermarket modification. They actually made 2 more of them that were forged magnesium for the Porsche automotive racing enthusiasts, that if you really want to get into the technical information, they don't just randomly start on fire, because they coated them with a whole bunch of really good stuff, and now they're making the magnesium forged stronger, but that's not really our market. So we're gonna cut it right there, but they are really neat. I mean, if you like neat stuff,
Be good for you to know.
what we did learn is that BBS is very specific about what they do. Is it fair to say that BBS doesn't make new wheels? Probably not. But I said it, and then they're like, you're a guy, they're a guy. And I was like, yeah, I'm a guy. And then we talked about it, and now I'm here. So the wheels being made are more oriented towards the racing and performance market, with the others providing, as BBS would say, wheel solutions for the daily driver of those that purchase motorsport wheels from us. In all, they're still doing a lot of stuff. The question is how much do we see in our angle,
From our point of view,
from predominantly a car show scene, and that's where it can get a little tricky. But either way, BBS is a brand that doesn't take anything lightly, especially wheels. That'll probably explain why people love the brand so much. So with that being said, which BBS wheels do you wish they would bring back? I keep telling them to just bring me back the RS or the LM or something, and just make it in big boy sizes for everybody to lo and behold. Jesse's probably staring at me like I'm a little weird, but drop it in the comments below. And if you're looking for some BBS wheels, head on over to fitmentindustries.com and check them out. We got a link below too if that's your thing. I'm Alex from Fitment Industries, and we will see you later.